Hi, welcome to Digital Wellness Day, and this is our wellness event for today, Increasing Digital Wellness, De-Stress from Your Desk. And I'm Stephanie D'Angelo, the CEO and founder of Telemeditation for You, a website and community designed to bring stress reduction, mindfulness, and wellness education to people through the digital world. So bridging the gap between ancient practices and the modern world through this virtual platform. So welcome, and thank you so much for being here today. I wanted to just say hello a little bit and tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'll frame it out and let you know what we're going to do today. We're going to go right into some practices. So I'm actually the founder of, as I said, telemeditationforyou.com. I would encourage you to go and sign up at the scroll all the way to the bottom and sign up for the email list. And I'd love to send you a de-stress for your desk little ebook on little remedies, rescue remedies for the time-starved that are different than what we're going to do here today. So that's telemeditation for you, for the number for you.com. And that's on my profile for the Digital Wellness Day event program. I'm also the founder of the Mindfulness Community of New Jersey, and that can be found on meetup.com. You can just put in Google Mindfulness Community of New Jersey and it'll come up. You're welcome to join. I share lots of free resources there on mindfulness, secular mindfulness, and then also notable authors that come through, lots of free stuff for everyone to check out, and also a YouTube channel called Stress Reduction TV, and that is free resources on how to bring stress reduction into your daily routine as you are working from home or doing school online or job searching or whatever. It's been for people who are sitting in front of computers a lot of time and need to take a break and then get back to their work. So that is pretty much the wrap up about me. In addition, I'm getting a master's degree in mindfulness studies and about to finish that, working on my thesis on polyvagal informed embodied mindfulness. So today our practice is going to be experiential, and we hear a lot about how to do things, and I'd love to take you through some practices and where we're just going to do them. So I checked out Maya Yazaki's Digital Labs session earlier this morning, which was wonderful, and she talked about relationships with devices. And this is what it is. We're in this constant 24/7 relationship with our laptops, with our computer, or with our computer in our hand, which, our phone. We're here available by text, we're getting instant messages, pings, we're on Zoom calls. It's just never ending. And then there's that fear that when we put it down, or if we leave our phone at home, there's this panic that we're missing out on something, right? The fear of missing out. So let's see if we can take a few moments. We're going to take actually a couple of minutes, maybe about 20 minutes to do some practices. And these are many practices all strung together that are all standalone. So the idea is to find some things that you can put in your toolbox, your own personal toolbox of what works for you, what you need to practice is like for a note for later, but right now, see if there's some things that feel okay for you that you can put in your toolbox, how you can instill that into your daily routine. I'm doing that 10 times a day, this and that, and breathing and all these different things, and we'll talk about that after. So sitting up nice and tall, the idea is to restore aliveness from this constant interface with computers. We're speaking their language. We're trying to make sure we're using the right language, especially if we're job seeking or doing something of that nature, trying to work with the language of the computer. And here we are, we're forgetting the thing that is the best about us is that we're human. The feeling of aliveness in the body can sometimes be eroded over time when we spend so many hours with these devices. So let's see if we can practice a little bit of restoring that kind of aliveness, the thing that makes us special about being human. So sitting up nice and tall. And first notice how you feel. Maybe you want to check your scale, a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being overwhelmed, 1 being, kind of neutral, okay. And this is really, we're talking about that kind of overwhelm from that constant barrage of information, and then even turning the phone off or down, face down when we're sleeping. But then when we wake up in the middle of the night, some people are grabbing that phone and checking, was there something, was that email I'm waiting for? Did it come through? So on that scale of 1 to 10, let's think about it. Close your eyes if you like and think about, where are you on that scale in your relationship with technology? And maybe when you think about that, can you feel it in your body? Like, where do you feel it? So notice that number and don't judge it, but like kind of put it aside. And let's get to practice. It's regular work day. Here we are. It's 10 o'clock on a Friday. And let's start to orient to the space that we're in. And we're going to use these lateralized eye movements. Let me frame it out for you. First, we're going to use some orienting practices, lateralized eye movements. We'll do some grounding and gathering and see how all these can be done separately. We're going to do a little bit of breath work, some movement, some self-massage, and silence. So each one of those things can be used separately, or we can string them together in any way that feels right for us. So let us sit and get connected to the space that we're in. And our nervous system is always looking for threats in the environment, even when we're sitting in our home, even when we're sitting across from this computer, because we could be getting like a text or a instant message or an email from somebody who wants something from us at all times. In some places, the computers are monitoring what we're doing. Offices are monitoring that. Not all, but that does happen. So let us see, like, how are we feeling in terms of being right here in the room that you're in? And we're going to use these lateralized eye movements to gaze from, and I'm going to use my hand to show you the pace at which I'm going to move, because my mind is super busy. My mind is saying, oh, all these things are happening, okay? There's stuff that's happening outside the house, stuff that's happening at work, things I need to do, deadlines, all this stuff is happening right here in my mind. And then if I take my attention, I'm going to use the resources of my body, these somatic resources, and I'm going to kind of follow my eyes are going to follow my hand. And you don't have to use your hand. You can just kind of gaze very slowly. So the point is not really to watch the hand, but I'm going to do it this round. I'm going to kind of watch my hand. And I'm kind of spanning the room. And as I do this, my mind I just start to slow everything down. And you should notice what is happening for you, because that might not be the case for you. It's okay. But if the mind feels really busy, that can be a really effective tool. Now I'm going to scan the room in the same way, but I'm not going to use my hand, just to show you something a different way. And I'm going to notice everything in the room. And my head is relatively still. It's really my eyes that are moving all the way to the corner. And then I'm going to kind of try to see my fingers here, like stretch my eyes a little bit so I can see that. And then I'm going to come back around, and you might notice there's things you like, things you don't like. lots of neutral things. And things have stories attached to them, like how I got them, who gave them to me, things about that I like or don't like. Lots of stories. We're just meaning making machines. We're storytellers. And let's take another pass. And what we want to notice is that this room that I'm in, that I'm telling my nervous system, oh, this is just my room with the candles and the chair and the table. I'm doing a couple things. I'm telling my nervous system, oh, yeah, I know that thing. It's safe. The whole place is safe. I'm sitting in this safe place. I'm also noticing all the stories. And what I'm going to try to do is try not to get caught up in the stories. I'm just going to move on to the next thing. And this is so similar to how our mind works. Our mind gets a thought comes up, and we could either grab onto that story or we could let it go like a little cloud. So that's what I'm practicing right here as I gaze in this panoramic view across the room. I'm noticing all the things, I'm taking them in. I'm not making one thing more important than another. I'm noticing and letting go. And if you like, you could take one more pass across. Just practice noticing, letting go, noticing when the story comes up, letting go. You might notice a sensation in your body, like something you got on vacation or and it made you feel warm inside. You might notice that. Just gazing across the horizon. And then back again. And we just practiced how to work with thoughts in the mind, because if we close the eyes, we'll notice the room of the mind has things we don't like, things we like, things that are neutral. And you can close your eyes here if you like. And see if we can just be with whatever is in the room, same as we are here in the room of our mind, in the room that we're actually sitting in. There's lots of things here. There might be impulses to clean up or do or move something. We might notice the same thing in our mind. Notice that we don't want to have that thought, or we want to have more of this kind of thought. Can we just look at it the same way and sit in the chair of our mind and be present to whatever's in the room and find our connection to the breath? And we might notice the breath is in the chest or in the belly. Where do we notice it the most? Coming in and out of the nose or the mouth. And can we not judge anything about this experience where if we were working and then we're saying, I'm going to just notice the breath for a few moments. We're going to pause the work and notice the breath. And we feel these muscles here, these accessory breathing muscles. So if the breath is heavy in the chest, shallow breathing, we could lift the arms, and this is always an invitation to do it or don't do it, and your videos are on or off, and just moving the arms a little bit. Lots of space for that diaphragm to move up and down, because when we get in that shallow breathing, that diaphragm can get locked and there's no place for it to go. So we lift the arms like an orangutan. And let a long exhalation come down the back of the throat. Sounds a little like the ocean. We could even use the physiological sigh and see how that feels. And this is a great practice to do. I do this at least once a day, walking through my kitchen. And help kind of get that diaphragm involved in the breathing. It's the primary mover of the breath. Start to see the belly expand a little bit in that inhalation. And we start to let go of some of these muscles. So let us remember that the long exhalation is really excellent for the autonomic nervous system, for what we would call a vagal toning. It's probably the number one thing you can do in real time to make the autonomic nervous system a little more regulated, a little more calm. So if you notice something like a little sympathetic arousal, a little agitation, a little fight or flight, a little stress response, something like that, you could use that long exhalation to help regulate those defensive strategies a little bit. And this is in that polyvagal framework. And we're not going to go too much into that now, but to regulate that and to bring the nervous system into more of a neutral place gives us more opportunity to socially connect, to feel better, to feel calm in those blended states, those between, the dorsal vagal and the ventral vagal, and we'll talk about that another time. But to make sure in your toolkit that long exhalation, that is the number one bridge to bring some calm into the nervous system. And sometimes we need that to reset, to restore our feeling of aliveness, especially if we're in this dorsal vagal collapse all the way at that bottom of the ladder where we feel like we want to pull the covers over our head. We feel so stressed. We're in the shutdown mode. We don't want to talk to anybody. We can actually restore from that by that long exhalation. We can just come right into that kind of those blended states of quiet but calm. And then we can build to that more socially connected state. So let us continue to move a little bit and see if we can help uh, relieve some of the stress that happens in these accessory breathing muscles when we do a shallow chest breathing. Because when we're extremely stressed or a little bit hyper focused, we might forget to breathe. Now, when we're in flow, we're feeling really good. There's a little bit of motivation, and when time goes by, we lose time. But usually, that breath is not like that short, like tense breath. There's a feeling of good feeling in the body when we're in that state of flow. And we would love to have that, but we have to take time throughout the day to reset, to check in with ourselves, to make sure that we're breathing and we're using that the diaphragm, primary mover of the breath, and then we're also working with some of these, the nerves that innervate these accessory breathing muscles are also responsible, part of the social engagement system. The ones in the face as well, facial nerve and accessory nerve, and all going up right into the brainstem. That's why when we work with them, we can feel immediately in real time. And I'm going to encourage you also to use the sound of your own voice, because when we do that, we're also affecting the muscles in the middle ear. When we hear a kind voice say something to us, we can, it actually can shift the physiology of the muscles in the ear, which allow us to feel less defensive and more social. So we're going to do a few things that help work with some of these cranial nerves that all contribute to our feeling of well-being, because the nervous system becomes much more regulated and it decreases those defensive strategies like fight or flight or that dorsal vagal shutdown. So here we go. We're going to do a little bit of movement. You're invited to do it. It's always an invitation. And if you choose not to do it, no problem. You might want to explore something that feels right for you. As you exhale, chin towards the chest. And we're going to use the grounding of, this is another one of the practices, the feet on the floor. So see if you can feel the feet on the floor and the weight of the body in the chair. And see if you can feel gravity draw you down into the chair. And I love this feeling of gravity and cultivating, getting to know this feeling of gravity, especially in relationship with our technology. Because oftentimes when we're working with technology, we're just so in the technology, we can't really feel our body. So this helps with that balance. So starting to cultivate that feeling when you're standing in the line at the grocery store. Think about how often you would just look at your phone right there in the grocery store, and you could actually take your time right there to feel the feet grounded to the floor, rooted to the earth. And actually, you would be able to notice if your posture was correct. Because that ache in the back or the pain in the neck oftentimes is postural. And we could work with that and shift the body a little bit to see if we can get to a more neutral place. Because physics tells us that when the body is stacked, there is no force. It's just stacked one on top of the other. So we could start to work with those kind of ideas, those concepts. So grounding, letting the feet feel the bottoms of the feet touch the floor or the shoes touch the earth, and gravity. And can we have that intention to gather here with all the body resources, orienting the sounds and all the sounds that we hear, cars going by and birds and airplanes flying, maybe construction, whatever it is, it's all included in the practice. So when you're in the office and there's lots of noise, it's all included. There's this way of cultivating everything included, so the nervous system doesn't perceive it as any kind of threat and start to give agitation through one of the other systems, the sympathetic activation system. Let's say, oh yes, everything's included. Start to use our own voice. And breathe. Find the breath. And the chin into the chest as we exhale. And then tip the chin up. So we're using the body as the anchor here, the anchor of attention. So we'll try to see if we can notice the feelings in the body. And we almost always know where the tension is in our body if we think about, notice how you feel when you leave your phone at home, or you lose your phone, or your laptop dies. Start to think about, like, there's a panic there. I know there is for me. So let's start to maybe notice, where do we feel that generally? And you could touch that area and notice, where do you feel it? Is it a buzzing or a pain in the neck or the back or in the head or the temples? So start to notice, where do I usually feel that? And then we'll move a little bit, rotating the head over to the right as you exhale. And you'll notice all of these accessory breathing muscles are all involved in these types of movements. Exhaling through the center, inhale and exhale over to the other side. Exhale over to the other side. And you can close your eyes if you want to cut down on the distractions. Inhale through the center. I mean, this could take 2 to 5 minutes to do as a little break in your day. And then right ear towards the right shoulder, lateral flexion. And if you'd like to draw your nose towards your shoulder, then you can get a little bit of this tension from the traps will be notable. So when we just do this lateral flexion, the other side, left ear towards the left shoulder, we may just feel this SCM, sternocleidomastoid, that helps hold the head up. But as soon as we draw our nose over to the shoulder, then the trap is involved in that. It's the trapezius. And then coming up and bring the head back. You may be able to feel all those long muscles that go down the back. They're all attached right at the base of the skull. So notice that maybe that might be an area that we'll attend to when we do our little massage. So all of the movements, rotation, flexion, flex the neck, extension, lateral flexion, and then we're drawing our nose with rotation. And do the other side. And that all affects all of the muscles of the neck that are holding the head up, going down into the shoulders, and the cranial nerves innervate some of those muscles and the ones in the deep inside that we can't get to, for the larynx and the pharynx, and lots of innervations that are happening in this area and in the head and face. And so we'll do a little bit of self massage. And first, we'll just cup the hands on the face, and to notice just even this very gentle cupping of the hands might bring the body into a more calm state. So my thumb is right by the base of the jaw behind the ear. And we can start by a gentle massage there. It's usually a very, very tender place. You can take the hands. You can make this so gentle or deep. However, deep massage for some feels really good. You might do a deep massage. While we're right here at the ears, we could take a little pincer grip right to the ears and draw the ears down and help release the trigeminal nerve. Draw them down, out to the side. You might find favorite spots on your face and your little facial massage, and where the jaw meets. You know that by if you open your mouth, you feel a little movement there. And then we can find these little places right here, right at the little curve of the nose, and you might apply a little pressure there. Some of these, the facial nerve and the accessory nerve, doing little massage. There's some slightly movable bones here, up here in the in this area, and then we could take the heel of the hand. And it's almost like a traction up rather than a pushing in. Puts a little traction up towards the cheekbone, a little bit of a traction. And then we can go back to the temples. And so the skull has these slightly movable sutures. If you've ever seen a picture of a skull, it looks like little stitches. And we'll attend to those as well. Move back. We can go ahead and take our fingers and do a little, this Donna Eden calls this a crown pull. We can pull across there. And then we'll do the same thing kind of up here. And you can be gentle, and you might be able to feel that slightly, feel the fascia that covers the head. And just kind of slightly move that fascia. This little sensory motor cortex. See what feels good. And then you take your thumbs to the base of the skull. There's a little divot right there in the center where all the, bundles of nerves going up into the head there, and the cervical spine, and a little shelf, the suboccipital ridge, just a little shelf, and I'm just walking my thumbs right across, and then I just end up, as I walk my thumbs right across, I just end up right in that same place that we started. And you can draw your fingers down if you like, whatever feels good. You could spend as much time as you like right here in this self massage of the head. You can work it all the way down to the shoulders if that feels right. You can come back to the face. You can cup the face gently. Bring the hands together. Make the hands warm. And if you like, just cup the hands right here at the zygomatic arch here. Cup the hands and let the eyes fall forward. And we'll take a few moments of silence. Feeling the feet, feeling the weight of the body, letting the muscles of the eyes go. And you can continue to cup the hands, or you can sit up nice and tall. Close the eyes or leave the eyes open. Find the breath. Thoughts that come up in your mind, see if you can orient to the space and let them go, just as we did all the objects in the room. If the body calls to be moved, to move it, stretch it. Practicing this here and now moment. Pause. And noticing when something comes up in the mind, a future thinking or memory from the past, something that's not about this moment, notice how it robs you of that moment of contentment that's always there. Serotonin, the here and now molecule, as it's called. There's a book called The Here and Now Molecule, serotonin. Let us find ourselves in the moment and see what it has to offer. And we can do that by noticing the feet, gravity, the breath, how it feels to move, the sensation of our own touch, of our own voice, and other sounds. We might notice smells and tastes, all a part of the here and now moment. Let us cultivate that to help restore our feeling of aliveness, the thing that makes humans special, being human. And thank you so much for practicing today. If you would like to join me at telemeditationforyou.com, I would love to send you a de-stress from your desk rescue remedies for the time start. And if you sign up at the bottom, and I promise I won't send you a lot of emails, just mostly offers for free resources, I would love to see you there. And thank you so much. I'm Stephanie D'Angelo, and until next time, be well.